Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep, fascinating look at the economics of hip-hop, and we're doing it through the lens of one of its most legendary and consistently brilliant figures. I'm talking about Antwan André Patton. The world knows him as Big Boi. As half of the critically acclaimed, totally genre-defying duo Outkast, Big Boi's financial trajectory tells this incredible, almost secret story about how wealth actually works in the music industry. So we're going to decode exactly how he built, and honestly, more importantly, how he maintained an estimated $30 million empire heading into 2025 and 2026. Get ready, because the way this guy handles his money is just as interesting as the way he handles a mic. Okay, let's dive right into this. It's the ultimate question when we talk about legacy artists, right? I mean, Outkast fundamentally changed the sound of American popular music. They absolutely broke barriers. They won 6 Grammys, including Album of the Year, and they sold more than 25 million records worldwide. With that kind of literal cultural domination, you'd probably automatically assume Big Boi has a net worth with a B, a billionaire, for sure. But his net worth actually sits firmly around $30 million. So why is that? Why is there this massive discrepancy between his cultural impact and his absolute financial wealth, especially when you compare him to some of his peers? To really wrap our heads around this, we have to talk about the mega moguls of his era. When you stack them up against them, you've got Jay-Z at over $2.5 billion and Dr. Dre sitting comfortably at well over $500 million. But here's the secret. Jay-Z's billions, they didn't come purely from selling CDs. They came from building a massive business empire with liquor brands like Armand de Brunier and Douce. And Dr. Dre sold beats to Apple in a staggering $3 billion deal. Big Boi's wealth, on the other hand, is rooted heavily in the music itself. And as we're going to see, his outside business ventures operate on a very different, much more personal scale. Section 1. The economics of a duo. You see, the harsh reality of group economics is that every single dollar Outkast catalog generates gets heavily divided before it ever reaches Big Boi's bank account. It's like a giant pie. First, that pie is split right down the middle with his creative partner, Andre 3000. Then there's the record label, LawFace and BMG, and they're taking their substantial cut. Oh, and we absolutely can't forget Organized Noise, the production collective who mentored them and produced so much of their early work. A solo artist with comparable commercial success just naturally keeps a much larger percentage per unit sold. It creates this structural ceiling on pure music income. But while that absolute peak might be capped by those revenue splits, the stability is what's truly mind-blowing. Starting from essentially zero, when he signed his first deal as a teenager way back in 1992, his net worth has climbed with this incredibly steady momentum. By 2003, right in the middle of the explosive diamond-certified success of the Speakerboxx / The Love Below era, he was sitting at around $15 million. Fast forward through solo albums, tours, and really smart investments, and he's securely at $30 million today. In fact, projections are pushing toward $35 million for 2026. This isn't a story of overnight tech wealth, It's a story of sustained compounding artistic value. Section 2. The royalty engine and the rock hall. 25 million. Let that number sink in. That is the amount of records Outkast has sold. Now, in our modern streaming economy, classic catalog songs that maintain their cultural relevance, they generate income indefinitely. Literally every single time Miss Jackson is played in a coffee shop somewhere, or The Way You Move, which, by the way, was named the 22nd biggest song of the entire 2000s decade across all genres. Every time that's streamed on a playlist, royalties flow right back to Big Boi. It's an infinite digital shelf life, and it provides an incredibly solid financial bedrock. And guess what? That bedrock just experienced a total earthquake. In 2025, Outkast was officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, introduced by none other than Donald Glover. Now, this isn't just a shiny trophy for the mantle. It's a massive financial catalyst. Hall of Fame inductions consistently drive huge spikes in catalog streaming, renewed licensing interest for movies and commercials, and just a fresh wave of cultural appreciation. It's a huge reason why Big Boi's net worth projections for 2026 are looking so incredibly robust. But beyond the passive income of streaming, there is the raw, undeniable power of the live show. Back in 2014, Outkast reunited to commemorate their 20th anniversary, headlining dozens of festivals, including Coachella. That single tour grossed approximately $60 million. Even after you factor in the splits, management fees, and taxes, Big Boi's share of that tour provided a colossal cash injection that practically fireproofed his wealth for the next decade. Section 3. Owls, Dogs, and RVs. Now, what's beautifully practical and honestly super grounded about his business ventures is just how personal they are. In 2009, he founded Celebrity Trailers, renting out luxury RVs to film productions. And it was so successful, it actually spawned a 2023 Hulu series called Big RV Remix. He also breeds premium French bulldogs and pit bulls, a real passion of his that brings in reliable income. Add in a $6 million real estate portfolio, primarily in the booming Atlanta market, and a custom sneaker collab with Converse, and you're looking at a man building wealth around the things he actually understands and genuinely enjoys. And when I say he builds his life around things he enjoys, I literally mean it. Big Boi lives on a sprawling private ranch in Atlanta, which essentially functions as his own private nature preserve. Living right alongside him are his 4 pet owls. Their names? Hootie Hoo, Houdini, Tula, and Simon. I mean, come on, that's amazing. He isn't out there buying mega yachts to impress strangers on the internet. He's using his millions to fund a deeply authentic, wonderfully eccentric, and joyful life right at home in Georgia. And that authenticity, it totally bleeds into his personal tastes as well. Did you know that one of the core architects of Southern hip-hop counts British art pop singer Kate Bush as his absolute favorite artist? His uncle actually introduced him to her music when he was just in middle school. Fast forward to 2017, and the two of them actually had dinner together in England. It just goes to show you that Big Boi's entire brand and his wealth is built on being uncompromisingly himself. He resists every single standard hip-hop cliché. Section 4. Comparing the Atlanta icons. So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. When you look at artists who came up in the exact same geographic and cultural ecosystem, Big Boi's wealth is remarkably impressive. Think about it. You have Ludacris, a massive crossover star with the entire Fast and Furious franchise under his belt, sitting at around $25 million. Then you have his frequent collaborator Killer Mike, an incredible artist and businessman in his own rights at roughly $10 million. In the harsh reality of the music business, surviving 3 decades and holding on to $30 million is an incredibly rare success story. It is the exception, folks, not the rule. What Big Boi perfectly exemplifies is a concept we really should call grounded wealth. He completely avoided the trap of excessive lifestyle inflation that ends up bankrupting so many entertainers. Instead, he built sustainable recurring income streams, from music royalties to RV rentals, that don't require him to be constantly exhausted and chasing the spotlight. He invested in real estate early. He built his businesses slowly and methodically. It's truly a masterclass in financial preservation for any creative professional out there. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought to chew on. We live in a culture that is just completely obsessed with billionaires, right? We're constantly asking why our favorite artists haven't joined the 3 Comma Club. But when you look at Big Boi, a rock and roll Hall of Famer, living on a beautiful ranch in his hometown, surrounded by his family, his dogs, and his owls, making music only when he feels like it, you kind of have to ask yourself, is true success really about chasing that $1 billion, or is it about building a $30 million life filled entirely with the things you genuinely love? I know which one sounds better to me. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this changes how you view success in the music industry.